Hello all, I'm Harish Tanikay bearing USN 1V19CA052 from Sri Venkateshwara College of Engineering and Department of Computer Science and Engineering. I'm here to present you all my technical seminar topic, that is Security System Review at Nodes in an Ecosystem. So basically, let's discuss what's a node. A node is something that is which can receive or send signals. In simple words, it is a receiver and sender devices in an ecosystem. Everything that can send or receive signals in an ecosystem or environment is called a node and is also referred as endpoint. In this presentation, like I have used multiple words like it can be replaced by as a node or an endpoint. So simultaneously, I've used the word endpoints in some places and also node in some places because both mean the same. The major threats in the security review of this nodes in an ecosystem is phishing, ransomware attacks, and data breach. So coming to phishing is a method where the attacker pretends to be a trusted entity and steals the information from the target. Ransomware attacks is attacks where the information is stolen and the attacker charges for some ransom in exchange for the information that is being stolen. The third one, that is data breach, is when the data that is in someone's access or control gets breached, gets the access is broken into, and you can take information from the source. That is when it is called as a data breach. These are the major three threats in an ecosystem for a nodes. Yeah, phishing is a cyber attack that tricks people into giving away sensitive information like login details or credit card info via fraudulent emails or websites. Attacker use ban emails to phish for victims. So it is basically like you have to be careful when dealing with websites because there are many fake websites that pretends to be the trusted websites and can take away your important information such as a username, password, email ID, credentials, and all those things. Ransomware attack. Ransomware encrypts files and demands payment for decryption. Attackers access systems through exploiting vulnerabilities, phishing or stolen credentials, then demand payment to release the files. Here in ransomware access, it is slightly a dangerous one because the attacker can charge a heavy amount and can demand a heavy payment to release the files or the data that has been stolen. The major papers that I've referred for this technical seminar include the proposed system by Zhang Hobin, which proposes an active defense model and framework for detecting and mitigating insider threats in organization. The proposed model employs multiple layers of defense mechanism, including data mining, profiling, monitoring techniques to detect and prevent malicious activities of insiders. This paper, like they have infused many models and multiple layers of defense mechanisms in order to protect the nodes in an ecosystem from the security breaches and attacks as discussed before, the phishing and ransomware attacks. The second paper would be by Seeley, Sarah Kanchi, and her co-authors. Describes a benchmarking study of various evolutionary computation approaches for insider threat detection. The study evaluates the performance of four different algorithms. This is based on four different algorithms. The algorithms are given here, like including genetic algorithm GA, particle swarm optimization PSO, differential evaluation DE, and artificial bee colony ABC on a dataset of insider threat scenarios. This paper majorly deals with an model which is trained, an AI model which is trained with the dataset where it uses the algorithms such as GA, PSO, DE, and ABC to train the model, and the model would perform the activities to find whether the nodes in an ecosystem is secure or not. The third paper would be by Eugene San and his co-authors. It proposes a proactive defense approach to mitigate insider threats by managing authorizations. The approach is based on policy-based authorization management system that enforces fine-grained access controls and monitors the behavior of insiders to detect suspicious activities. This is more or less like an uh, monitoring approach where the suspicious activities are monitored by the authorization controls in the management system, through which we can find whether the data is being breached or the access is being broken into or not. The next system was proposed by William R. Claycomb and his fellow members. This system proposes a method for detecting insider activity by enhancing directory virtualization. The proposed method monitors the access patterns of insiders by creating a virtual directory structure that maps to the actual directory structure of the system. The virtual directory structure is then monitored for suspicious activity that may indicate insider threats. Like the previous system that I had discussed, this one also is a monitoring approach where it monitors for some certain patterns of insider threats, and based on these patterns, if there is some suspicious activity, the system will find whether it is suspicious or not, and would help us know whether the data is secure or not. The paper by Tabish Rashid and his fellow members proposes a new approach for detecting insider threats by hidden Markov models. Hidden Markov models are shortly described as HMMs. The authors use a dataset of user activity logs to build HMMs that model the normal behavior of users in a system. The models are then used to detect anomalous behaviors that may indicate insider threats. This is also AI model kind of approach where the model is trained using a set of data sets based on the user's behavior, and if there's any slight difference in the user's behavior, then the model is triggered, and from that we can understand that there might be a possibility of data breach. The last one, the paper by Antti Hakala, etc., and her team member, that is etc., proposes a model for endpoint aware inspection in a network security solution. As discussed before, endpoint means nodes and nodes means endpoint. That both are the same. Inspection in a network security solution which utilizes endpoint identification and metadata extractions to enable efficient inspection of network traffic at the endpoints. The proposed solution consists of two main components: an endpoint metadata collector and an endpoint aware inspection engine. These are the papers that I predominantly used for my technical seminar. I refer through these papers, and there are many other papers that I took it as a reference, which is included in the later part of the slides. The main methodology of this is the node protection is crucial to secure different nodes like smartphones and printers. Every day, every devices in an that we use is a node. There is both sender and receiver. Our smartphones can also be called as a node, and also the laptop that we use is also a node. And everything, the smartwatch, everything that is around us, the electronic gadgets around us are a node or an endpoint. A suite of integrated technology called Node Protection Platform (NPP) or Endpoint Protection Platform (EPP) includes antivirus, data encryption, intrusion prevention, and data loss prevention, among others, that detect and prevent threats at the node level. For example, like we use laptops every day. There is some antivirus softwares that are being installed in the laptops, which protects us from malicious activities that we can be fallen trap of in the internet. And the phones also have certain antivirus softwares that has been installed by default in the phones. The same way, like these all things help us in protecting our privacy as well as the data that has been stored in our phone, and protects us from this security breaches as well. The node security detection and response, threat intelligence, like we can detect the node security, and in response we can do all these things. Like we can first we can use the threat intelligence where we can find whether we are prone to these threats or not. The threats that I mean would be the phishing, ransomware attacks, or data breaches that is predominantly used by the attackers. Then there's continuous monitoring. When we continuously monitor, that is taken care by the antivirus softwares in our devices, where we continuously monitoring, we can help avoid all these things. And once if we are prone to this breaches, then we can immediately react. We can clean those using this remediation and cleanup methods. We can observe without interference, and using machine learning to detect unknown threats. The paper that I discussed in the literature survey, there were two models which predominantly used AI methods to train the model using the data sets. The same thing, we can use machine learning or AI to detect the unknown threats, and this can happen in a continuous way, in periodically, and that again accounts to continuous monitoring. And this one can be highly customizable. These are the methods where we can detect this node security, and in response we can react to it. How attackers evade? They can evade through fileless ransomware. There are many new attack techniques available. There are apart from phishing, ransomware attacks, and data breaches, there are many new attacks that is available, like man-in-the-middle attack, denial of service, and all these things. All these attacks, the attackers can either intercept or they can interrupt in between the sender and receiver, and can capture the data that has been sent. They can also modify the data that has been sent, and the end point, that is, or the node, that is the receiver or sender, would never know that their data is modified or not. This is how attackers can evade. The major way to stop this can be like improving the node securities, and the methods that were discussed in the previous slides. Outdated nodes can also be a reason where the attackers can easily bypass the security system that is provided by the nodes. Multiple data sources and filtered node data. All these things, all these methods are how the attackers can evade, and how the nodes are susceptible to the threats that is involved. Let's move on to the next slide. The threat detection techniques. The major threat detection techniques are signature analysis, behavioral analysis, and sandbox analysis, whitelist or blacklist matching, filtered node data. In short, signature analysis means, and as we discussed in literature survey, there are some patterns that the attackers follow, and once these patterns are easily decoded, then we can easily understand that we are prone to this attack, and we can react to it. That is how the signature analysis and behavior analysis are understood as. Whitelist or blacklist matching, it is like we can have the pattern or the major attacks that that happen every day. We can have that as a list, we can have that as a concept, and from that we can match whether we are being attacked or not. If it is a match, then it is clear that we are being attacked, and if it is not a match, then it is clear that we are not being attacked. Then filtered node data is also a way detection techniques where the node data is filtered, and only the important information is taken away from it. The results of this system would be, with enormous merits, EPP, that is Endpoint Protection Platform, is treated as a perfect guardian of the endpoint or a node. However, EPP begins to show its flaws faster when confronted with advanced hacking methods. Day to day, the hackers are using new techniques and new methods to hack and get the information. So it is easily understood that the EPP must be updated and maintained in regular intervals so that the attackers can never bypass the security system that is provided by the EPP or an NPP. EPP uses massive database for virus signatures. As discussed previously, in the detection techniques, there are some signature analysis. For example, there was this virus a few years back called the I Love You virus, where the attacker used the virus to get into the system, take the files, and display the message called I love you on the screen. This was a major virus that was being used by the attackers. So this can also serve as a signature. That is what is being discussed in the third point that I'm explaining now. EPP uses a massive database for virus signature, and as a result, the matching process creates much wastage of resources. Sometimes the virus signatures cannot be matched on time because virus mutate very fast. Um, the I love you virus can also be integrated with some other viruses and can also be innovated such that the virus signatures can uh, never be matched. This is what we call as mutation in terms of computer viruses. However, the most significant flaw of EPP, that is Endpoint Protection Platform, is that it cannot define insider threats, which have become one of the most popular methods of hacking these days. Insider threats are those like the people or the devices that can work within an organization and can provide the details to the hacker who's present outside the organization. These threats can never be tracked by the EPP because um, the it is one of the difficult methods for an EPP to track the insider threats, and this has become the most popular methods of hacking these days because EPP cannot defend the insider threats. In conclusion, the EPP and EDR are popular ways to defend against threats, but have different effects. Same time there are many advantages with using EPP and EDR, and at the same time there are many disadvantages as well. But comparatively, the advantages are on upper hand when we use an EPP, and that is why people prefer to use an EPP or an NPP. EPP is good for external threats and uses function like HIDS, HIPS, and antivirus software to protect endpoints. However, it has some disadvantages like overusing resources and relying on the internet to function. Overusing resources, as discussed in the results slide, due to the major virus signatures that has been evolved day by day, the EPP has to update itself with new virus signatures, and that in turn leads to overusing of resources. And also, when due to the matching, it requires a proper internet connection, and hence it is majorly relying on the internet to function. The biggest drawback is that EPP can't defend against insider threats. As discussed in the results, it is very difficult to defend insider threats by the EPP and also an NPP. If a virus gets into an internal network, EPP is not effective. The virus gets into an internal network. This EPP serves as only a prevention. It can never be a cure. The cure must be taken by the organization. Only before the virus enters before the virus enters the system, EPP can serve as effective method. Once it enters the system, EPP has no means of controlling the system. These are the major references that I've taken from my religious survey as well as for my technical seminar. Thank you for listening to this technical seminar.